Hello, welcome back to Sarah's Country Cottage and Garden. I've just lit the fire. The lamps are now lit, or, well, that one there doesn't work, but all the others are lit. And it's still Sunday, the 5th of October. So I was just earlier on filming in our dining area wrapping some fall presents and kind of going through what I'll be doing with the basket cover. So I'm going to start it now. So the room's lovely and cozy and warm. I'm going to take you over here. Got the big overhead light on. In fact, we've got some lamps on in the hall, look. And our little autumn tree is still twinkling away. Little tea lights in the window, but they're faux tea lights. They're effective, aren't they? But at least you don't have to worry about them burning. It's very dark outside, but at least, thank goodness, now Storm Amy, I think, has gone. So let's begin. So if you remember the video I did on Thursday, and I was talking about baskets, and I had the gift wrap that was full of vegetables. In fact, vegetables like this: beetroot, carrots. Well, these are ones that I needle felted a few Christmases ago. And this is my Peter Rabbit basket. There's the handle. And this is the cover I made. And there's Peter Rabbit. And I needle felted it. And so if I turn it down, take the camera down, you can see that it's relief, like 3D. Even this little watering can, you can put your finger, I'll do it with mine, look, see, through the handles. There we go. So you can almost tip it up and pour the water out. And also the way that I've done it, because I did it at Christmas time, look, because I've got holly on the corner. And this is what I mean about trimming it at the end. It's like I've got lace here, and then this other little edging that I bought from places like Hobbycraft, etc. And it just, because I do it quite very basic stitching, this kind of hides all that stitching, all that messiness. And what if I line this underneath? It's just the same woolly. And then I've just tied ribbons around the, oh, I'm lowering my camera so you can't see what I'm doing, around there. And you see I've got peas there, and I've also done mushrooms. So that's that. So anyway, the basket in question, let me just sit this camera down on the table, and then I can use both my hands and show you what I'm going to do. Okay, right, so hopefully you can see this basket okay. And what I've done is I've got this piece of A3 paper, and previously I've used a magazine, newspaper. It can be any kind of paper, gift wrap, wallpaper lining, wallpaper, whatever you've got, anything that's slightly bigger than the basket. And so I pushed it through, and then I've got my paper scissors, and I have cut down by the paper down by the side of each handle. Done the same on this side. You can see it more here because I didn't put the paper through evenly, so there's more paper on this side. This is all going to be waste, this side here. So basically I've cut down so that can you see there, and then folded it back so that the paper is for the moment, this is our template, but what we're trying to do is create a shape for the cover. So I've cut these flaps, and then it lies flat, because before I did that it was all curled up. So now that I've cut those, it lies flat. And then what I do is I just get my pen and I put my fingers, I can feel the edge of the basket, and I get my pen and I'm drawing underneath close to the basket. So I'm moving my fingers as I go around so that I can get an outline underneath of the basket all the way round. So that's one side. And then fingers down again. Basically, I'm pushing the paper against the edge of the basket, meeting it with my pen underneath. So as I move my hands, my fingers around the edge, feeling the edge of the basket, I can feel the pen point underneath. And hopefully now, if I pull that out, it's going to be rough. That's our basket. That is our template. And just look, can you see from that how skew width? Because these baskets are handmade, they're old. So even if they were made perfect, you know, with age, they move, they give. But as you can see from that, they're off center, aren't they? So that's why we create this template. So now again with my paper scissors, I'm going to cut around my pen line. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then what I do with this, so I've cut one side, as you can see. I've cut one side. I'm just trying to move close to the camera. And now where I've got the crease of where I cut up to, where I bent it, I'm going to cut along that crease. Does that make sense? So that's where the handle is and the template goes in. This is my first time really, isn't it, doing this? I hope I'm coming across okay. Okay, let's do the same with this side. In fact, what I'll do first is let's cut around and get rid of all this excess. I think some people have the camera positioned in front of their face, don't they? So that it's underneath them so they can see what they're filming at all times. Right, that's our template. Let's see. Which side is it? Was it like that? Let's see. Oh, try again. I know it's pen way up. And there we go. See, even that then doesn't look great, does it? That's why the lace edging works really well. Covers a multitude. So there we go. Can you see from that? That's our basic template, and it needs rejigging. So I'm gonna cut a little bit there. I'm just going to cut a bit off here. So you wonder then, have I put it on the right way? But it really didn't fit. Let's try it the other way again. Oh, do you know what it is? It's because it's pen down, isn't it? Are you all shouting at the screen, Sarah, it was pen down. Pen down. Perfect. And that, ladies and gentlemen, if there's any gentlemen out there watching, is what the menopause does to you. Oh, dear me. Yes, it doesn't need jigging now, does it? It's a perfect fit. It was ink down. There we go. Perfect. It's been a while since I've made one of these. Anyway, right, pen down. That is our template. So then I'm going to take the wool Oh, and it just about fits, you know. It just about fits. Look at that. Wow, that's lucky. Now actually my little bag here should have a little, if it works, it's one of those that wears off. It's called an erasable pen, fine tip. So let's see if that works. I'm just going to place my hand on it. Is it working? No, it's not showing up. Don't bother getting them. They're useless. Let's see this. Right. So I'm not going to touch the paper. I'm going to just give myself a bit of a, on the outside, you know, a bit of a slight edge, just a couple of millimetres, 1/8 of an inch. Then around where the handles are. Can you see all right? Can you see what I'm doing? Right, again, the handles. Okay, there we go. That is our, so we'll use our fabric scissors now. I hope they're not too blunt. And we're going to cut this out. And this alone, as the basket cover, will be too floppy, no support. So that's why we're going to do an inside with either wadding or just another thick layer of wool, like this wool. And then another piece for the bottom layer, just to hide that insert, that middle part, which is usually your rough, you know, like your wadding or, you know, a rough piece of fabric. And I just do really simple stitches all the way around to keep it all together. There's nothing fancy, no fancy stitches, just the very simple stitches that you learn when you're a child at school or just when you're dabbling on your own. So I'm just going to cut out where the I'm still a bit sniffly, I'm afraid, from this cold. But anyway, there we go. That is our basic basket cover. So next time I come back, I'm going to sign off now, and then I'm going to get my felting wools out, and I'm going to have a go at felting some pumpkins. So I'll come straight back. It might not be today, but it'll all be in one video. Okay, so it's the day after. It's now Monday evening, and this is the cover that I cut out. And like I said, I'm fancying to needle felt a couple of pumpkins on there. This is my box of felts that I've collected over many, many years from when we used to go to Yarndale and Woolfest. I know you can buy it online and hobbycraft places. So it's just basically a collection of different dyed wools. And as I've got an orange wool here, I can't necessarily do an orange pumpkin. So I've been going through the box and I've picked out these two, and I think these complement the orange. So I'm going to see if I can do a couple of pumpkins. So this is a piece of foam, and previously I used to use a kneeler, you know, a garden kneeler. Basically you want something that when you're, because this when I'm needle felting, this is the needle I use. I just use one fine needle like this, and I don't think it's going to make it out, but there's barbs on the end. Let me just put this stand down, see if I can get it to tilt a bit more, and hopefully that'll be an okay position to show you what I'm going to be doing. Okay, so this needle has barbs going along here, and it's these barbs that when you push in and out, so if I put my, here we go, so this is my piece of fabric, and I think I want my pumpkin, which I want to be the bigger one, maybe the cream, because I have a bit more of that. So I'm just going to pull off some of this, and I'm just going to, let me pull this stand up again. Let's go up. So we're zooming out, hopefully. Right, now I'm going to have to sit down. I'm stood up at the moment. And, oh, I hope this works out. You can see what I'm doing. Let's just try and go for it. Let's pull up the sleeves or I'll end up needle felting my jumper. So, it is easy to look down though. Hang on, let me see if I can stand up and do it. So basically, and excuse the snuffles, I am still full of this cold. But anyway, let's just go for it. So if we're thinking of a basic, you could think basic round pumpkin like that, and start needle felting straight away so that it connects to the wool underneath. Okay, so basically we've got a little round blob, and it's me pushing through, and it's pushing through probably, and you will find that the wool comes through and it sticks onto here and you have to peel it off. That's fine, it's not an issue, and just keep pushing it down again. And it doesn't matter what wool is showing on the other underside, because we're going to line it, aren't we? We're going to have a middle and then we're going to have a bottom. So as you can see, it's starting to attach. And just carry on doing that, pulling it round and just going at it. It is a slow job, it's needle felting. It's quicker than knitting though. It is quicker than knitting, I think. Well, for me it is. I'm not the best knitter. But basically right now, rather than concentrating on shape, though you can probably see that I keep pushing it under there with my fingers just to try and define an edge. But once you've got, and you can put more onto it, you can add to this. So I'm just trying to, let's just pull it out, relieve it from underneath, go at it again. I mean, to be honest, I've probably got too big a piece here. Maybe I should have got a smaller bit first and layered it, but it doesn't really matter. We'll get there in the end, and it'll work. Because what I try to do, I just don't want to do the flat shape of a pumpkin. I want to try and get some definition in there, so you have the shape of it. I might not do 2 pumpkins, I might do 3. I'm just going to play by, see how I go, play it by ear and see how I go. But you can see now, you can get, I don't have them, but you can get tools, and maybe some of you already have it, where you've got multiple of these all together. So, I think up to 5 they do them, and that way it speeds up the process because you've got 5 going in at once. So you need a needle felting or felting it together, 5 times as much as me going back and forth. So here we are. Right, I'm going to continue that and start the filming. I'll come back in a minute or two, because otherwise you're going to get very bored. Okay, so this is quite secure now. You can see bits of the wool coming through the other side, and you can keep going at it. And what I will do eventually is, let me show you. Think of the pumpkin, think of the segments that it has, and what I will do to start getting defined shape to it, I'm going to just keep going over, and then another one. If you think of the ridges of a pumpkin, and I mean what you could do is actually get a bit of wool. You're not meant to be able to just tear it apart. A little bit like that. And actually you could maybe use that as a bit of relief. But to be honest, if you just keep at it, if you think about the pumpkin that's looking at you, that first. Have I got a pumpkin nearby? Bear with me. Let me get this pumpkin. I'm not far away, just trying to get one that looks defined. Right, here we go. Okay, you see this pumpkin? Okay, so we're pretending we're looking at it like that. Okay, and so we want to create this shape, basically a bit like an oval. And then we want to do 2 half ovals, don't we? And then again, so that's what I'm trying to create so that it starts to look. So just trying to do this so that you can see it and I can actually see what I'm doing. So if you think of that shape and just, and then push it under, you can use your, I mean, you might want to put a thimble on because these are sharp. And if you hear me go, wow, it's because I've stabbed myself, which, it is part of the course. But anyway, getting back to that shape, it's a case of just going over, and you'll still have to go over this bit as well, and eventually it does take time. It does take time, don't let me kid you. I mean, it might be better to do it in sections and build it up. I mean, I don't really plan these things. You see, I'm just pushing that in there with a needle. I'm using the needle a bit as it like a pen or a pencil to just kind of push it out the way and create some shape. That indentation in the top, we can worry about that after. We need a bit of indentation at the bottom too. That might be a good way of how we get our shape. So I'm just basically going over these same parts, and I haven't done this side really. I'm trying to do it without it covering up so you can still see what I'm actually doing, and then tuck that under. But this side, I'm going to have a pumpkin overlapping it, is what I'm thinking. I might have to add more. And the great thing about, needle felt, you can add more. You can cut bits off. You can do whatever you like, really. Just have a play. Just relax. Enjoy yourself. Have a bit of fun. So this will be my next pumpkin. and I'm going to do it so that it's like in front of it. Remember to keep just pulling it off so you don't completely attach it to your foam underneath. You can see all the different colours of wools that I've been needle felting onto this over the years, and as you can see the cream of the wool showing through the orange underneath now. So anyway, we just basically for now we want to attach this next blob of wool to potentially become our pumpkin. I'm going to layer this one up actually, this pumpkin, because really it's probably like it's going to be in front of that one. So I'm just, it doesn't matter right now about creating shape, it's just attaching it to the wool. And the more and more you push this needle through, the more you felting it. And it can, I mean, you really do need the tool where you've got 5 of these if you want to do a complete, like if you look at my previous videos, where I've got Mrs. Tiggerwinkle that I did and Jemima Puddle Duck. Again, I've only done it with a single needle, but it takes ages, and I do it while I'm sat down watching TV at night, you know, over the period of time, and I only use one needle like this, but the more and more you do it, the more solid it becomes. So you can create a really solid mass out of the wool. I mean, that's a lot more flatter than this one, isn't it now? I'm just going to get some more and build it up. I'm just piling it on top. So, I mean, I'm doing pumpkins for this basket cover. You can do whatever you like. You don't have to do anything. You could use some fabric, you know, some patterned fabric like the tablecloth. Except not this tablecloth, it's because it's oilcloth. But you know what I mean? You don't have to be bothering with all this needle felting like I am right now. You can use any fabric you like, and then shortly I'll show you the next stages that I do. But it's all very simple. None of it is difficult that I do. I don't think so. So how's that looking? Like a couple of blobs. So what I need to do is get some more, because when I look at this now, I've got to tip this up so I can see it really. It's a bit flat here. I also need to make it look like it's more 3D in front of the white pumpkin. I say white, it's not white at all, is it? It's a beautiful colour wool. It's a natural colour wool, that. Really, really soft as well. We used to go to Woolfest and Yarndale. They'd have all sorts of wools from all the different sheep and goats, alpacas, and one lady, and she used to bring her Angora bunnies with her, and they were so sweet, so cute, and she'd just be combing them, you know, because they'd lose their hair, and she'd gather it up, and it was from that she created wool. So as you can see, I'm building it up. I'm missing it because hang on, let me stand up. The thing is then I'm going to block your light, aren't I? So basically I need to make sure, and I think what I need to do now, I'm pushing this here. I want to feel like this pumpkin now is going to be angled like that, so it's more looking at me. So eventually when I do this one, I'm going to put a stem coming out of there, so it's up leaning against this pumpkin. So for this pumpkin, this, and I'm probably going to end up pushing it that way, and my stem will come out over here. But for this one, I'm going to do it, and it takes time, and I don't think I can film me doing all of that, because it'd be hours long, it'd be days long. I'd have to start another channel on YouTube just on how to create a needle felted pumpkin. So shall I leave it here, do some more, and then I'll come back to you? Okay. All right, bear with me. Okay, so now it's Tuesday evening. I've been at work all day, and last night after I turned off the camera, this is where I got up to. So this is loose, and these are all loose. The only thing I've needle felted in stem wise is this one here. So as you can see, I've actually done 4 pumpkins, and hopefully now, especially if I tilt it that way, you can see how they are. I've created this 3D effect, I've built it up, and basically the needle, you're kind of using like a pencil, just going over it all the time to create the definition. And every time you push through, knits it together, creates, and creates the shapes that you want. So that's where I've got up to. What do you think? Can you tell what they are? I hope you can. So, oh, clock's chiming. Oh, what are we on? 7 o'clock. So I've got my wools here, and sorry, I'm wobbling the candle, the camera. So what I've got is some black, and then this brown shade wool. It's a natural wool, this one, so it's lots of different shades really. If you look at it, it's really pretty. I love the natural ones, but I think for a pumpkin stem, I wanted it to be dark so it stands out. So what I've done is I've pulled off a little bit of both, and I've just been pulling them both together like that to try and make this one look a little bit darker. Can you tell? And then from that, I've pulled off little bits, and I've just been twisting it like that. I've been wetting my fingers and twisting it round to make the stems. And then I like this first one, I've just placed it on top and started pushing it down all the way around, and I've turned my foam round with the wool on it, and I'm just pushing it in. So that is actually quite secure on there now. That stem is quite in place, and I can still bend and manipulate this if I wanted. Could do with a miniature curler, couldn't I? A little curl. But anyway, there we go. So then I need to attach these, and basically that there, I'm just going to get the end, hook it in, and push it in. Push that up there, just like that. And then what I could do if I wanted, actually that had a nice little curl then, didn't it? You can just pick it up, or I should say push it down in odd little sections to create the shapes. So this one next, let me just put that to one side. So this one, okay, this one here, let's start pushing that one into the top. So rather than going down into there at this point, I'm going into the pumpkin. I hope my finger's not blocking that. Can you see? Let's go from this angle. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing okay. So basically, I'm pushing that in, needle felting it, because this is a bigger pumpkin, So it's going to have a wider stem base like that. So we're looking at it upside down. And I think actually I might make some contact there, bring it down, and we can create the twists. And it won't need much, just like that. So let's turn it back round and let's see how it's looking. What do you reckon? See the way I've got my camera on my stand? The back of the stand is blocking a lot of the view for me. So I'm guessing here that I've got it positioned in the right place for you to see. So what do you think? Does it look okay? And then let's move that all out of the way. We've just got one last more stalk to do, and that's for this one here. So I think I'll turn it round. I think it's easier for me to do it this way, and you can probably see it better. We can both see it better this way, hopefully. So again, I'm pushing it in the top. And again, it's a big pumpkin, this one, so we're pushing it quite wide against the top. Just like so. And then some can go in. And you can be fussy with this. You can play with it, alter it a bit. Oh, hold on. Is my microphone working? Yes, I think it is. Hopefully it is. Let's keep our fingers crossed, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me right now. Okay. Let's just pull that. I want it to go off more finer. So I'm just pulling it. In fact, bear with me while I just wet my fingers. And just so that it comes to a nice, like they do, don't they? They taper off to a nice point. So I'm just going to push that down and leave it there. Let's have a look. How does that look? No, I'm not happy with that. So the great thing about needle felting, if you're not happy, it will, can you see, you can catch it, you can pull it off, you can pull it free, and then we can reposition it. Because I don't really want it to go the same floppy direction as this one. I think this one needs to go a bit more upright. So let's catch it there. And I think I want the end just to be free for now. So just so. Okay. So I've got my pumpkins here, my faux pumpkin from the kitchen. This is the pumpkin that I made, the smaller one. And then I've got this little acorn. I love acorns, collected so many over the years. And so what I might do, you can see I've got lots of greens in here. So I'm thinking I'm going to felt some little leaves, and I'm going to have a go at doing a little acorn, which are basically going to be tiny little blobs, because you can see the size of these pumpkins. So the reality of an acorn next to it is going to be rather small. But I have to say, needle felting is a lot quicker than embroidery. I think probably, I know I said knitting is slow for me, but embroidery is really quite time consuming, isn't it? And if I want to get you this video completed for the end of the week, I need some fast, I need something speedy. So I'm going to see if I can needle felt couple of acorns and some leaves, and think about your autumn picture. What I'm doing is creating a little vignette, so that when I look at my basket cover, I've created a nice picture to look at. So I'm probably going to do like a splatter of leaves here, and then coming down here and across, and a couple of acorns, and then usually something like this. I like to give shape all the way around. I like to balance the picture and maybe come up here. Excuse me. I am so much better than I was. I'm a lot better today. I think, but talking for quite a while, and I've been talking a lot at work. Part of my job. I'm getting a little bit coarse, so do bear with me. But yes, so what I'm saying is that's a whole basket cover. and everything right now is across this bottom and corner, and it's nice to I like to leave a space here, but it's nice to kind of have the picture flowing. So, you know, like a couple of leaves here and then coming down here. And I think somehow it would be nice to have something going round, and not necessarily a tree, I don't think. I'm not sure. I need to have a think about that and have a play. And that's basically what you do. You just have a think, have a play. So I hope you like this next step. I'm going to sign off because I need to be able to see what I'm doing a bit better. Have a little play, see if I can make an acorn small enough to needle felt, and think what I could go around here, what would work, or maybe even just leaving it blank, you know, or even just maybe a splattering of leaves. I'll have a think, and I'll sign off there, and I shall come back to you shortly. Hello, it's now the night after. I think it's Wednesday night. The clock's chiming. It's 8 o'clock. The fire's lit. We've had tea. Robert's kindly doing the dishes, and I thought I'd show you where I'm at. So I've actually put it on the basket. So this is how it's looking. So let me take it off. So that's the basket there. Now, is that picking it up? Is the camera in the right place? Let's push that basket further back. And there you go. So basically, I have been, you know, since I spoke to you last night, I'd started, I think, needle felting some leaves. And then I also needle felted a couple of acorns. And then I got my embroidery threads out, and I just started doing lots of little French knots in different shades, just kind of representing the earth, and also a few little stitches just to kind of make the leaves more representable. And then I thought, I'm going to leave it there. So there you go. So that is the finish top. So what I need to do now, let's stand it up. Let's tip this more over. That's it. Okay, so we'll put that to one side. Hopefully we've not got too much shadow. So what I want to do now, so this is my middle, and this is what I'm going to use for the bottom. So what I want to make sure now is that this is, I can tip it over a little bit, it won't do any harm. I just want to make sure that this is smaller. So I'm just going to cut it by, I mean, you could draw around it. You could use your original template that you'll have. I've still got mine, but I won't need it now because I'm just cutting out where the handles were. And I'm just going to do it by eye. If I don't knock the camera over. So, because I just want it to be a little bit smaller than the two outside pieces. So I'm just trimming it down ever so rough, because you can shove this inside as you go around with your fingers. I'll just turn it around that way. Have a look. Maybe a little bit more there. And then a little bit more where the handle goes. Like so. Okay. So now we have our top and our middle, and I'm going to place them on the bottom. Okay. Like so. And if we want to be cautious with our fabric, I can move it to the edge. And what I'll do is I've got my pins here. Now in my fancy pin tin, which I should have had them in all along, but the cardboard box that I did have the pins in. I need to work from this side. Let me just move that camera. I'll work from this side because I think I was casting a shadow. Yes, so the cardboard box is now a faux present. Anyway, let's get a few pins. And I'm going to pin this. I'm going to pin it all the way around. But to start with, I'm going to pin the 4 sides, doing the opposite sides first. So that I don't, because fabric can move, can't it, when you're pinning it? I don't want it to run out. So we'll pin the 4, north, south, east, west, as such. I hope I've got this in shot for you. Can you see all right? So now the bottom one, make sure there's enough fabric there. As such, is that going to be a bit tight there? No, it will be fine. Let's get a pin. And now we'll start pinning all the way around the edges. So probably 2 or 3 in each quarter, because we've divided it into quarters now, really, haven't we? We're doing top, bottom, left and right. Probably just need 1 there. And then carrying on. A couple more. And then the last one. So that are all the pieces together. And then while it's like that, I am sorry, I'm a little bit sniffly still, but I really am feeling so much more better now, more me. So I'm just going to take my scissors and, oh, the clock's going in the hole now. I don't know whether the camera's going to pick that up. Just mind that pin. So rather than draw around, I just pin it to it and cut off the excess as I go around with my scissors, like so. I think I'll carry on that bit there and then go back. Oop, a little bit skew with there. And then go back to do where the handles go. Okay, so we're just following round the edge of the orange wool. Like so. Okie doke. So then we just need to do this. And we do need to cut these bits off because they'd be in the way of the handle. So I'll just cut them both like that. Okay. It doesn't have to be too neat because you'll just pull it together when you're stitching it. I'll just move this pin more over out of the way. Okay. And I think now that I've done that, I can see better and just cut that there and cut inside here. So when I've sewn all these together, how does that fall? That'll be fine. That will be fine. That's not going to be, because this, I'm doing quick rough stitching now to put all these together. So this is not going to be how the finished article. I will then be covering it up. I'll be putting an edge into it, or maybe a couple of edgings, like a lace trim, and I will show you that as we come to it. So right now what I'm going to do is just start sewing. So basically I've got my double thread through the needle, doubled up, not in the end so it doesn't come through, and basic stitches. So we're going to come under the orange, and then that knot is inside, and then I'm just basically bringing the two together just like that, just not a fancy blanket stitch or anything, not a running stitch. I'm just coming out the top and then I'm going underneath slightly over. Can you see that? Can you make that out? Well, let's do a few. Okay, and then as we get close to a pin, we take it out and put it back. And there we go. So that's basically what I'm doing. So I've gone for a brown thread to match the back actually, because up here will be covered, the edge will be covered with something else. So we just carry on doing this, and we're going to go all the way around, in and out through the handles, sealing it up so it will be like a sealed little cushion. And that's what I shall do now, and I'll continue that. So when I come back tomorrow night, hopefully I'll find some different laces and different trims and show you the next step. Hello. Okay, so it's now Thursday night, and after I left you last night I continued the sewing. So this is how it's looking now. Oh, this old basket's breaking to bits, flaking off on the handle. Lovely and old though. So this is, can you see the design better there as well? I'm actually in the kitchen tonight. Robert's sitting in the well, he's in the sitting room, and he's cleared all his stuff over there so I can make it look pretty for you. And it's, what are we on? It's 6:10, so it's quite early. So this is the design, and I have to say, in reality, the colours are so much different to what the camera picks up. This is a much nicer orange. It's a deeper, more corally orange. And I mean, how does it pick that one up? Yeah, it's making that one more orange as well. And the pumpkins, this is a lovely creamy colour. And then this is a little bit more, I don't know, but anyway, it looks completely different to how you're seeing it now. So last night I finished the stitching, as you can see, all the way around, just quick rough stitches, gathering it all together. And so it now sits nicely on the top of the basket. But I don't want to leave it like that. I want to add some trim. And so I look out, and I've been collecting ribbons, lace, trims, edges for many, many years. If I go to Hobbycraft or any hobby shops or any kind of fairs, and I pick up things like this. You'll have seen from my other baskets around the house, I do tend to finish them off with this, which is one of these, and they're usually only £1 or £2. And I'm sure they do this all over the world. You get them in all sorts of colours. And I was looking at that one. How does that come up? Because that's quite a nice burnt orange, which I thought would complement the edge of the basket. So I might use that yet. However, I found in a basket, because I do tend to keep a lot of my trims and ribbons in baskets with covers on, all around the house, all over the place. The first one I went in, I actually found this, which is very old. I would have got this from a vintage fair, an antique fair, and it's not quite long enough to do lots of gathers, but I've cut it in half, and it will just pin around here with just a slightest ever gather. But then what I thought, that I've got this, and I got this years ago, Again, I probably could have got it somewhere like Yarndale. So this is gathered, it's elasticated, it's little yellow straw gingham. It goes very nice with this tablecloth, and I shall probably be putting this basket on here. So then I thought, now let me stand this up on the table so I've got my hands. Let's just bend it down. Right, okay, so let's move that now because I've shown you the little bits of trim. Now let's show you this. So here we have small vintage lace, and then what I'm thinking is some nice bits of gingham like that on the top, and that'll be more gingham. So if this looks a bit tight underneath, it won't matter because we've got that gathered on top. And then finally, to edge it, and you can lose your stitches in this. If you do a tiny little stitch when you're attaching this, you lose your stitches, so you don't see it. So if you tend to see your stitches on this, and you'll definitely see them when I attach that, because I'm going to have to do a bit of a gather on it. So, but this, something like this, you'll lose your stitches on, and that'll be my final bit. So I'm thinking those, can you see, to edge. Like that. Can you see? I hope you can see okay. So basically this one that I've got limited of, I will pin around the edge so I know how much I've got to gather. So I know I'm going to want to just fold it over the ends so I've not got a raw edge, and then I'll probably pin it on. But I'll probably remove the pins as I'm going along because I probably want to get it, you see where I'm pinning it, in order to pin it, I'm going quite deep over the edge. So as I'm sewing, and I'll only pin one side on at a time. I hope you can see what I'm doing here. So I just want to use the minimum I can get away with to go over the edge. And I'm just loosely pinning it because once I start sewing, I'll remove the pin. But it's purely, this right now is purely so I can see how much I've got to gather. So now that this is in case, I mean, you could have trim where you've got plentiful, and in that case it doesn't matter, you don't have to do what I'm doing now. But because I'm making do, and I love this is beautiful detail, all that stitching, all that embroidery onlay, but really at a different level. I mean, just let me zoom in, take the camera down so you can see that. And it's a lovely, it's not white, it's a lovely old off-white. It really is pretty and a really lovely relief. So I'll pull it like that so I know, and pull it so I've got my middle piece, and then I know I want to pin my middle piece there. I'm just going to put a little pin in there, and then I'll do the same here. Again, I'm going to pull it so I've got my middle, go to the corner, and I'm going to pin it there. And then it's giving me, the reason I'm doing this now is I know how much, rather than guessing, oh, do a little bit of a gather here and a bit of a gather there, which I'm still going to have to guess it a little bit, but at least I've got these markers in place. So I know pretty much how much I've got to play with at each section. And so I'll be sewing this on first. Okay, and then once all that's on, then I'll add the next layer, and then I'll add the next layer, and then that might be it. But I always tend to put a bow on the handle. You can see where it's breaking a bit there. It really is worn. Actually, that's the better side, isn't it? I usually put a bow on the end, or like I said, just a little charm to hang off the end of the basket. So whether I make something to match this fabric of, I'm going to move you over, of our pumpkins that I made the other week to make a little acorn. I'm going to try making acorn. I've seen how somebody does it. I've seen a few people do the same version, and it does look really effective. I don't remember the names, but you can search them on YouTube. But I might have a go of doing it myself. If I get to film it, I will show you with my pleasure. So I don't know whether you want to see me do a quick little stitch so that you can get the gist of it. But so basically what I want to do, I've got a needle and thread here. So I'm going to take, like I said, I'm going to take that pin back off. I want that to be quite close to the edge. One thing I should have done though, really, was giving it a bit of a 9 on the end. But anyway, never mind. It will be fine. And I do actually want to fold that bit over so we don't have a rough edge of sewing. And probably what I'll do for more time is actually just pin that, you know, a few little stitches to pin that down. And I'll just go in here with this from the top, from just underneath, catching it. Because the trim, we don't want the trim, having said that, I don't want long trim, these gathered long trims going on the inside, because it'll just ruffle up around the basket. Now you might like that, so yeah, go ahead, do that. But this one, I'll either end it there, or I might actually go around the inside as such. That's entirely up to you. So this is basically what I'm doing. And so I just want to attach that on there with a couple of stitches, and I'm just gonna, I think, catch, because I've never really used, well, I have, but you know, I mean, it's quite a while since I've made a basket cover in itself anyway and done any sewing. I've never used a machine. I don't have a sewing machine. Everything I do sew, I sew by hand, slow stitching, something I can sit and do. Maybe in a cosy winter night. Do you know what? I'm not even showing you there what I'm doing, am I? I'm not aware of the camera. Let me pause it, have a look, and see if I need to start again. Okay, so not great at showing you the stitching. I've just done a few more stitches, and I'm making this even more difficult for myself, to be honest, but you can see the edge there. I'm just going across, and I've actually decided just to do a little running stitch for this, just to catch it on the end. What I could do doing is using a finer needle to go through it. I'm using a needle here that's a little bit too large. I love using this needle though, because my sight's not what it was. It's easy to see. So then every now and again with my two thumbs, I'm just creating a little pleat to give it the slightest little gather. So I'm just going to go in there and catch it. Okay. And then because I've created the pleat there, just smooth it a bit. It is very delicate, the fabric I've gone with, so it's going to be tricky to do. But what I am going to do is stop the video, carry on, and then I'll come back to you. Because what I'll need to do before I sew on the next bit is trim off these little loose threads before I put on the next layer. Okay, so it's the morning after. I spent all last night just finally sewing this furlong to it. It's still dark, so I've got the big overhead light on, and I just want to quickly do the next layer, because hopefully it's meant to be dry today. Friday is my day off, and rather than doing my housework and my cleaning, I'm hoping we can get in the garden and clear up the mess after Storm Amy. So let me take this off here, because in the end I found the easiest way to sew was having it sat here at the table and laying it flat, just lifting it up with my other hand, which I can't do right now, I'm holding the camera, but just going at it like here from the edge and just doing slight little gathers all the way around, and therefore making it go. Because if you remember, this is a vintage piece here that's, I don't know how old it is. I got it from an antique market many years ago myself. But anyway, it's made do for this. I think it looks lovely. And the next thing I'm going to do is use this gathered layer. I don't need to pin this one because I've got so much of it. So I'm just going to tuck it round the edge there so it's neat. Go all the way around, and I'm just going to, oh, I'm sorry, I'm taking the camera away, aren't I? But I'm just going to do little catching stitches just to catch it all the way around. So I'll do that, and then I'll show you when that's complete. So I hope you're all liking the basket so far. The needle felting really is simple. It's so easy to give it a go. You pretend this is the needle felt, and basically you're using it just like you would a pen, a pencil. I hold it like I would a pen or pencil. Sometimes when I'm doing a mass, I turn it round like this and just stab, 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 stab. But then when it comes to the details, you just keep going over to give the definition. So I do hope that it inspires some of you to have a go at needle felting, and you can make it as simple or as complicated as you want. And I did all the needle felting in just one short evening, and yeah, definitely a short evening, because by the time we've had tea after a day's work and other chores, I really only have a couple of hours, and then it's bedtime because I'm up the following day at 5:20. So yeah, it really doesn't take long at all. Anyway, I'll now stitch this layer and then show you how that looks. Okay, so Robert's holding the camera for me while I just show you how I do these simple slow stitches. So I'm just basically layering it where it is, gathering it a little bit and just doing a little slow stitch moving round. So as you can see there, and this isn't my final layer. The final layer will cover all those stitches. So I'm just carrying on, going round with just little slip stitches, and any little rough bits will be covered up. Okay, I've returned to the kitchen, and here we go. My finished basket with 3 layers of edging, and my pumpkins, needle felted pumpkins on top in 3D relief with needle felted leaves and acorns, and then embroidered French knots just to create a nice background. What do you think? Do you think it looks nice in our kitchen for autumn? Now then, what's that cream blob there next to it? It looks like a dumpling. Well, it's the same wool as the cream pumpkins, and I thought it might be nice to just do a loose pumpkin just to rest on the top. So I'm going to needle felt little pumpkin. Not in this video, for it's gone on far too long. And did you make it to the end? Have you followed it through? I hope it's inspired you just to find an old basket and create a cover for it. It doesn't have to be like this at all. It can be anything you want. Any colour, any fabric, any design. But hopefully it's inspired you. And next, well, I'm going to needle felt a little pumpkin and maybe an acorn just to adorn it. And I might see what charms I can make too. Not necessarily to put on the basket. I like it with just a simple bow. But maybe just to go on the side. Basically just because it's nice to sew. It's nice to get the needle out and just to play and make something. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I can appreciate it's been very long, but thank you for watching, and I shall see you again next week. Goodbye.